Alright guys, so in this video we're going to talk about different grades of copper, and I'm going to show you how to separate how I separate some of the copper and brass. I got a couple cans here. I'm not feeling good, so I might sound a little hoarse, but look at this giant vise my buddy Joe gave me. But I'm going to set the tripod up here that he bought me, and I'm going to show you guys on some of the common grades of copper and everything. So, alright. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to do this video showing the different grades of copper and what you'll come across on a daily basis. So, like for example, this is plumbing brass. You've all seen it. It's nothing new. It's nothing, out of the ordinary. A lot of times you get it from old tear-outs and stuff or whatever. But you see this? That's a solid brass fitting. But this is number 2 copper. Because you see it's oxidized, it's dirty, and whatever. So you got to cut the brass ends off. And then this pipe here will be number 2 copper. You see that? And that'll be number 2 copper. Compared to this little piece I have here, which is, you see, it's a lot cleaner. There's no oxidization on it. There's no paint. There's no solder. There's no brass. So this would be considered number 1. Okay? Or something like this. If you sell it like this, they're going to give you the lowest grade. They're going to give you dirty brass because it's got steel and it's got the handles on it and stuff. So what you want to do is, like, see, that's a joint, but that's a copper joint. If you really look at it, focus. That's a copper joint. So I would cut that here, cut this handle off with the Sawzall. So what you do is, just like that, and it's gone. Cut that piece off, and that would go in the number 2 bucket. Simple. Where this piece, as you can see, it's nice and clean, but it's got a joint, copper joint that's soldered and everything. But if you wanted to, you could cut this here and here, like I did that other little piece. And then that's the little piece of number 1. And the piece that fell on the ground here, as you see, it's got those fittings and everything. Those are copper, but they're soldered. So you'll get a lower grade for this than that, but it's still all copper. And then you get the stuff like this. These are heating cores, but they're called aluminum copper rads. My yard calls it ACR, aluminum copper rad. You take the plastic crap off, make sure there's no steel ends on it. This thing's gonna be a pain in the butt. But look, there's a piece of number 2 copper. So you can cut that off, and that's a piece of brass. You can always tell brass from the copper fittings. If you look at them, they'll look kind of pitted, and they'll have like a casted look. Where this one will be, probably can't see that, but they're more smoother. The copper ones are more smoother. They're more of a pressed than a casted. So, now I know guys that take a little whiz wheel or something and cut this aluminum off to get that piece of copper. But if you look, all these are really thin copper. So, I'd say do a piece and see if it's worth it. You're going to get 45 cents a pound for the aluminum, and the copper you're going to get $2 or $3 or whatever it is now. $3 I think a pound. $2.90, $3 a pound depending on the yard to go to. But, you have to put time into it. And so what I would do is I'd cut this off, and if you wanted to take the whiz wheel and cut all that off, or a Sawzall, and pull all that crap off, the aluminum, weigh that piece of copper, and then, because you're going to get less for this than you will number 2 copper. But if you separate the copper from the aluminum, obviously you'll get more. Now, this is just, I don't have much wire, so I couldn't really do much, but this is 11-2 or 10-2 house wire, as you could see. So I'm not going to focus. They're solid strands. And this stuff a lot of guys strip. They buy strippers for it. But if you pull this out like this, most yards buy this stuff as number 1 copper wire. So you'll get the highest price for copper wire for this. But if you strip it, like I have this little piece, this is the ground wire that's in there. If you strip it, you'll get a very clean, non-oxidized, shiny piece. So if you strip this and it's not shiny, you're not going to get Bear Bright. Bear Bright is the highest price for copper wire right now. So that right there is, my yard is $3.40 a pound for Bear Bright. Now this stuff comes in thicker, but if it's multiple strain, like a battery cable or something like that, a lot of times most yards don't give you Bear Bright price for it. It has to be a solid strain of copper. They won't do. Some yards are different. I mean, over the years I've dealt with different things, but like if you strip a battery cable out, a lot of times they won't give you Bear Bright. They'll just give you number 2 copper price for it. And this is just your average copper wire. They usually buy this with the plug ends on at my yard. Number 3, it's the lowest grade copper wire. I mean, there might be like Christmas lights or something lower, but I don't even deal with those. It's just not worth it to me. But yeah, this is what you cord your cutoff appliances. This came off a microwave or something, or a blender or something. But I usually just sell this as it is, as number 3 wire. I think I get 45 cents a pound, and you know, it is what it is. Now I want to show you this guy right here. This guy is a sealed unit I took out of a refrigerator I had. Sometimes I don't even take them out. But when I do air conditioners, you'll find these in air conditioners. You'll find them in dehumidifiers, kegerators, little mini refrigerators, stuff like that. These are, some yards call them sealed units, some call them compressors. And as you hear, it's like an electric motor inside. There's a copper winding in there, and there's a piece in there that spins. They buy these the way they are. I mean, if you got time to cut these open and separate the copper, I mean, you got more time on your hands than I do. A lot of yards, like my yard right now, is paying 25 cents a pound for these with the casing, and they're pretty heavy. I have some in those air conditioners that are 100 pounds right off the bat. So it's all in your time. I mean, I took that one out just for demonstration because I didn't feel like ripping an air conditioner apart. Now this, what do we got here? This is a 1/3 horsepower copper motor, and you see in there, I don't know if you could see that, there's copper in there, and I took a little thing and I poked it to make sure it was copper. So it is copper wire. These are the commercial motors like this. And the copper that you take out of these, once you cut it and pull it all out, sometimes we used to have to burn them to get that resin off because you couldn't pull the copper out. That's not advised now because it's illegal to burn copper wire and stuff like that. But that's how we had to do it. But if you got the time, you could probably cut along it and get the copper out. And it's thin wire. It's thin like what comes in that wire, that gray one. And that, as long as it doesn't have shellac on it or any of that varnish or anything, usually most yards will pay number 2 price for that. So, I mean, it's good money if you want to strip these. If you got a bunch of them and you don't have anything else really to do, I mean, have at it. Give it hell. And these ends on this one, when you take all these bolts out, these are aluminum. So you get a little bit of aluminum out of it. The case is tin. And usually the armature in here, they buy for short steel if it don't have any aluminum on it. Because you see it's a big thick end. So I just wanted to show you guys some stuff that I had been putting out. And oh, somebody's calling me. See, every time I do a video. But I just picked up a bunch of aluminum. This big piece of aluminum. I'm going to come over here. I picked up more aluminum. Some copper. Some air conditioners I have to clean. I gotta go pick up 2 air conditioners and stuff like that. But I want to show you this big copper coil before I leave. See this big gray copper coil, or this big ugly copper coil right here? This came out of a furnace. I've showed you guys these before. You cut it here, you know, take a couple pieces off of there, and that would be considered number 2. But if you see this bolt pattern on a water heater, a heat exchanger, or anything like that, usually it means it'll have an indirect water coil. Now I'm going to turn the camera here, put my glove back on because it doesn't look like it, but it's only 15 degrees out. Turn the camera here. See this guy? You see that? It's got the same fucking thing on it. So, you know, you cut this piece of brass off. These are probably brass. A lot of times these plates are solid brass. It looks like this plate is solid brass. And there's the same thing. It's longer than that one. but they're usually about 20 to 25 pounds. So at current prices, there's a $60 coil in here. It's an indirect water heater. You find them a lot of places. It's not one of those pressure tanks. This is what's called an indirect water heater. But if it's 20 pounds, that's $60, over $60, $65. That's just insane. I mean, and a lot of times the plumbers, they just get rid of these, and you got some brass and some other copper on here and stuff. So the stuff is out here if you can grab it. And that's what all this stuff, let me adjust this. That's what all this stuff is. This is all plumbing brass. You got more number 1 in here. You got some stuff with steel on it. But here's another style coil. That one, you see that one? That's got a square plate, but it bolts on. It's got pipes coming out of it. And that's a water coil from a boiler. This one's from a, I think a Well-McLean's are Circle. This was from a, I think an old Peerless or something. But that one right there, without the plate on it, that one's still probably 25 pounds. So it's $70 in that one piece. Because copper prices are really good right now. I mean, they're not as good as they have been, but they're getting there. But alright, that's going to end my video. I just wanted to show you guys some different grades of copper and everything. And just wanted to show you guys that, there is a lot of material out here to grab. And you don't need crazy tools. I use this little compact Sawzall because it's easy to one hand, and I can zip through pieces fairly easy. Yeah, it just hurts my hands and all, but I don't really strip the electric motors. I don't get into that. Just don't have time. I got to go pick up like 4 or 5 more air conditioners and a furnace and some other stuff, and I'm not feeling good. It's been miserable. I've been sick and had a fever, and I'm not going to make excuses, but even when I'm down, I'm still out here scrapping. So, alright guys, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video, man. Pray for me that I don't die. But I'm out here 7:30 in the morning trying to get all this stuff together for you guys. It's cold. I hope you guys appreciate what I do for you guys. I'm sick, and I'm still out here trying to make a video for you guys. But alright, see you guys later, man.